and welcome to another episode of Ask an Assistant, the podcast for executive assistants and the people that love us. I'm your host, Jess Lindgren. Let's get to work. Today's question comes from esteemed colleague Amy, who asks, "Hi Jess, can you give me any tips for managing my executive's children's school year schedule? This is the first year that I have been asked to integrate this into my work, and I would love any pointers that you might have." Amy, you're in luck. I have been working with my executive for the past 10 years, and while his children were pretty young when we first started working together, they did eventually, as many children do, get into school. They started attending school, and their school has a really great website with resources like the school year calendar on it. And whenever that calendar becomes available, that's the first piece of the puzzle. It wasn't something that I was dealing with from day one because, again, the kids were pretty young. Like his younger of his two children was a baby when we had our first interview together. I remember seeing her in her little baby carrier. He was carrying her around the house, room to room, as we were talking. And things have changed a bit over the last decade. So definitely something that we had to integrate, kind of pretty similar to what you're dealing with, Amy, where you've been doing largely professional work, professional support for your executive, and starting to integrate some personal. So if that is something that you are interested in and comfortable with, high five. Honestly, like if it was up to me, I would love to do nothing but personal assistant work. I love the business piece of it too. I'm really good at it. I've got great systems and processes. It's easy to me. I know it's not easy to everybody, and that's why the executive assistant role exists in the world. It's a piece that I really love and something that we have, as the kids started to attend school, definitely started to integrate more of, and then over the years of working together, integrated a lot more personal stuff into our working relationship. But today, we're just going to focus on when personal meets professional, the school year edition. So I did touch on it a little bit before. Make sure that you speak with your executive and get any resources that you can. Sometimes you're lucky and the school might have a publicly facing available to anybody who might want it calendar. And that's something that you can get either from the PTO, PTA, Parent Teacher Organization, or Parent Teacher Association. Might be kind of a regional thing or just a school by school thing. I've seen it called both. Sometimes that is a PTO, PTA managed asset. Sometimes it is managed by the individual school. Sometimes it's managed by the district, but definitely something that if you can get it, set yourself a reminder every year for when it's time to go grab that calendar so that you can get it integrated into your executive's calendar at the first available opportunity. I am very fortunate where my executive's kids go to school. Their calendar is available at least 6 months in advance before the school year starts. I'd have to look and see if there's an actual date, but it is available quite early. And then it's something that, as we've done this every year for several years, I don't even have to ask anymore. It's not something where I'm waiting on him or a member of his family to get back to me with that information. I can just go to the school district website. I can pull the calendar and the information that I need and get it into the calendar. Something that I have learned is to actually block fully the day. I used to just put, so that it wouldn't crowd up the day, I would just use this is an all day event kind of thing for any half days, whole days. Sometimes the kids are out of school, but it's like a professional development day. And sometimes it's nice to have that information on the calendar as to why the children are not attending school. You might like to know, your executive rather might like to know that it's a staff development day, or that it's a holiday, or that it's some other reason. Like one of my nieces and nephews' schools, they had an extended cleaning break where they were literally closed for like a week. Very unexpectedly, it was a health issue that was discovered and then had to be mitigated. But sometimes that additional context is really helpful for your executive to have on their calendar at a glance. So especially like you, Amy, and like me for quite some time, it was largely a professional relationship, 90+% professional work, only using his business calendar. He does maintain a separate personal calendar, and definitely something that we've integrated a little bit more here and there of the personal stuff over the years, but I am still solely focused, largely focused rather, on his business calendar. So again, getting those dates from the school, getting them off the district school website. If it is something, there are certain districts where that information is only available to parents of enrolled students. So something where you may need to wait until the school tour day happens. I mean, it's been a while since I've attended a K through 12 school, but I do remember having a day before school started where all the kids and parents came and you could kind of get the lay of the land and get your locker, get your packet, that kind of thing. But again, I'm a dinosaur. I went to school. I graduated in 2001. But sometimes you may need to wait until you can get an actual paper copy from a parent, or maybe there's, in this year, 2024, living in the future, sometimes it's an app or a secured website that you might need to get access to. So you are waiting on your executive or a family member, but by and large, I do think these calendars are available school by school, or at least district by district, and you can work with your executive to figure out what information they are comfortable sharing, especially as you are developing the relationship and venturing into those personal waters. You can say, hey, are you cool if I go proactively and get the school information? Or is that something where you'd prefer that I wait and get it from you? Just something where when you're entering a new dimension of your working relationship, you definitely want to tread lightly, and just communicate as everything is. It's just communication. So once you've got that school year schedule and you get it onto the professional calendar, I touched on this a couple minutes ago, but definitely take the time to block off the whole day. There was definitely an incident that I will never forget, even many years on, where I had put something as a whole day appointment, and we are a Google Apps for Business. We're a Gmail house, if you will. And I believe someone will have to confirm this for me, or maybe I can do a little digging after I'm done recording. But I believe in Microsoft, if you put a whole day event on, it will actually remove your availability. And even though I have not had to touch Microsoft since 2014, I think at the time, because this was several years ago, I think at the time I was kind of in the headspace of, oh, if I put the whole day event, it's going to block off the whole day. And then a couple of really important meetings got scheduled on a day when my executive was definitely not available. So definitely take the time to block off an entire working day for a personal thing, like a day where the kids are off school. Definitely confirm with your executive, because every executive is going to be different. I have worked with people before where their kids went to Kumon or a different kind of before and or after school program. And sometimes those before and after school programs have programming available on days when the kids are scheduled to be out. So whether that's a holiday, whether that's a staff development day, definitely confirm with your executive what their family's plans are and how you can best support them. So maybe even on a day where the kids are out due to staff development, you might need to build in, and I have to stop my phone, pardon me. Sorry about that, everybody. Little reminder for myself that I did not catch prior to recording, but here we are. Definitely confirm with your executives what it is the kids are going to be doing on those days where they're off school. Again, whether it's a holiday or a staff development day, maybe it is something where they're going to go to a program. Maybe it's something where they're going to go to a friend's house. And maybe instead of needing to block off the whole day, you just need to block off, like, they're going to follow their same morning routine of get up, get breakfast, get ready, get out of the house around the same time, but maybe they need a slightly later start time because it is an off day. Maybe as they're going to their friend's house, they're going to meet at 9:30 instead of 9 when school starts, or whatever it is that that you might be working with in terms of time. But yeah, so just again, communication is key. Just touch base with your executive and see what it is that the kids are going to do, how you can best support your executive's day when the kids are off school, because those days are routine interruptions for all involved parties. Yes. And if your executive happens to be fortunate enough to have childcare, maybe one of the people in the family is a stay-at-home parent, or one of the kids is old enough to stay at home with the other kids and watch them during the day. Again, everybody's situation is going to be different. Maybe you've got those after-school programs. Maybe you've got supplemental school time. Maybe the library offers a day off school program. You just never know. So definitely touch base once you've got those days, whether they're half days, whole days, onto their calendar, and just see what that's going to look like. You might also not know until the day of. Like, there are certainly days that are happening in this upcoming school year where the kids are off, and sometimes when that happens, my executive might like to travel. They might take a long weekend when there's a bonus day off. So just seeing what those days might look like. And it's going to be different every year. So just take some time in the summer as soon as you've got those assets, and just touch base. What's happening in September, October, November. There's a lot of days off in the first semester of the school year, if you will. So September, October, November, December, there's a lot of holidays that happen in there. There are a lot of days where the kids just aren't going to school and following their regular routine. Yeah, and again, just block the whole day. Trust me, it saves a lot of confusion. My executive and I have been working together 10 years. Again, the kids' needs have developed over the years. You can watch for trends. Like, for example, I know that my executive and his whole family, like, they attend all of the first day of school activities. So like that day when school starts, he's just not available. There are days when the school year is ending in the following summer where things pop up at school, whether it's performances, recitals, just things where the parents are really involved. And I know now, having done this for many years, that there are going to be about 2 weeks every summer where school is winding down. And there's just going to be days where we need to schedule lightly. I make sure that nothing important is scheduled over those days. Anything that we schedule over those weeks, definitely try to get the pulse of, okay, do you think it's going to be a morning thing at the school this year? Do you think it's going to be an afternoon thing? Do you want me to just block off a couple days this week? You know that something is coming. So just noticing those trends is really important and can really save you a lot of work. Like, I know the value and the hard work that goes into a beautifully scheduled day of podcast recordings, of meetings, of whatever it is that it might be, and having to reschedule all that stuff at the last minute. Your executive feels bad, you feel bad, the person that you scheduled stuff with feels bad. Like, it just pays to notice those trends and act on them. So when you know that you're going to have days or weeks where things are just going to be a little bit hectic due to the school schedule, definitely notice those trends. Put little notes for yourself. Like, every summer, I get the school calendar and I put in an entire year's worth of, here's when school starts, here's the off days, here's when school ends. I put in a little note in the summer, hey, these 2 weeks as school is winding down, schedule lightly. Take it easy on yourself and your executive, because things are going to come up And the more work that you put into scheduling stuff, the more you're going to feel like you're redoing the work. So just get ahead of it. Try to jam the schedule with stuff. Like for me personally, my executive has a podcast and records a lot of interviews on other podcasts. We definitely set those goals to be done before those last 2 weeks of the school year. And then that way, anything that comes up is hopefully with internal parties and people that it's a little bit easier to reschedule with. So, Amy, I really hope that helps. Those are my thoughts and best practices when it comes to integrating the personal side of the school year, meeting the professional side of the business calendar. Get that calendar as early as you can, get it into your calendar. Definitely have a conversation with your executive and you know where things stand. You know, if you're new coming into a role, you're going to be learning a lot about where calendars stand. If you're established in your role, you know whether you are handling personal stuff, professional stuff, or what your mix is. I actually talk about your time split in a previous episode, which is Time Split Talk, back on Ask an Assistant episode number 6. You can look that up. I will do my best to link that in the show notes. But definitely, you know where that split is between professional and personal stuff. I have worked with executives where I have complete control over their entire calendar, soup to nuts, like anything personal, professional, all goes through me. I've worked with executives who maintain a paper date book, and I have no idea what they're doing until they show up and do it. So yeah, it's just everything's going to land somewhere in between, but get that school calendar, get it onto the paper date book, get it into the digital calendar. Make sure that those dates are fully blocked off. Start to notice those trends when there are times where the kids are going to be a little more demanding in terms of their school schedule. My executive is very fortunate insofar as he is able to pick up and drop off the kids every single day of school, which is incredible. And so we craft his schedule around that accordingly because you can't get that time back with your kids. I am a professional auntie myself, but any minute that I get with any of my nieces and nephews is just so precious. And similarly to my executive, I'm very grateful to have a lot of flexibility and the ability to design a schedule that allows me to, for instance, on Wednesdays, I have Auntie and Hazel days. My niece Hazel has half days at her school on Wednesdays, and we get together and go to, she loves it. We go to the balloon store, which is the dollar store. We go buy as many helium balloons as she wants. She usually starts around 10, and I usually talk her down to about 5. We also like to go to the grocery store because the grocery store has a self-checkout. And if you ever need to kill an hour with a toddler, nothing like going through a big old grocery store, picking up anything and anything you might want, and then letting the toddler do the little scanner gun at the checkout. It's the best. And depending on the place that you go, they might even have stickers. They might have a little sucker. Who knows? And then she also loves going to the French fry store. You know, just Auntie and Hazel going to pick up French fries like a couple of gals. And then we come to my house and hang out with the kiddies and watch Bluey because that's what we do in summer of 2024. I'm very interested to see where the fall of 2024 takes Auntie and Hazel days. We shall only find out as her interests continue to develop. But in the meantime, I have about 30 helium balloons hanging out in my entryway, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the best. So, Amy, I hope all that helps. I would love to know what system you devise with your executive, how things go as you ramp up into a little more personal support. Personally, I don't remember if I finished my thought on this earlier or not, but personally, I would love to do nothing but personal work. It is my favorite. I don't know why. I don't think I can fully articulate it at the time of recording here, but I just love it. I love taking care of people, and I love getting paid to take care of people. So That's where I'm at, Amy, and anyone listening, dearest esteemed colleagues. I would love to hear from any of you. AskAnAssistant.com, as always. The only stupid question is the question that you don't ask. So please do not hesitate to lay your comments, questions, thoughts, concerns on me. AskAnAssistant.com. I'd love to connect with you over on LinkedIn. You can look for me there. Any resources will be mentioned in the show notes. Little tiny programming note, however, my links are not working in Apple Podcasts. So if you happen to be listening in Apple Podcasts, if you check out the direct podcast website page, which I believe is hosted on Libsyn, all of the links work there. If you happen to be listening to the podcast on Spotify, Overcast, Pocket Casts, anything else, the links work just fine. So hoping I can find a fix for that sooner than later. I've only found a couple of articles about it, and so far the fixes that have been suggested are not working. So again, hopeful, fingers crossed that we can get those show notes fixed. But until then, it's hot, it's humid, wherever you might be in the world. I'm in upstate New York, hot and humid, miserable. Stay hydrated. Check in on your neighbors. Give some people some high fives. Give them their flowers. Make them feel good. Say, hey, colleague, you're doing a great job. Hope you have a great day, a great week. And until next week, take care.